In New York, 2,500 officers have turned in their badges so far in 2023. And we are expected to see mass budget cuts coming in. Following up on the previous segment where we talked about mass migration stripping resources from the people, this is what you will get. And I'll give you some examples. You already know what it's going to be like. We've already seen San Francisco. One of my favorite memes as a Star Trek The Next Generation fan is that Star Trek accurately predicted the Bay Area in the 2020s. And I don't know if the year is correct, but it is part of Star Trek lore that it's mass homelessness and chaos and poverty, and it eventually leads to major war. There was a period where the police were all hopped up on drugs to get them to do their jobs because of how difficult it was, I suppose. But this is where we are. With the migrant crisis, the border crisis, New York cutting the budgets across the board, Chicago building migrant camps, this is what will be coming to you. They're cutting the police. The police are quitting. What do you think happens next? Now, I'm of the opinion that we should not have cash bail. If you're accused of a crime and not convicted, we lock you up. There is a hearing to determine whether or not there's a preponderance of evidence that you may be a very serious threat. And I'm okay with that to a certain degree. I don't like the idea, though, that someone gets arrested and they say you got to pay money if you want to go back to your life. It's like, you've not proven I've done anything wrong, so there's got to be a hearing. It used to be that way. And they got rid of that. But let me tell you, when I hear these stories, there's a story about a guy accused of murder. And I tweeted about this. He's accused of murder, and because of an evidence glitch, they had to release him. I say, good. If the government cannot prove you did something wrong, they should not be able to lock you up. But wait, you say, this guy may be a murderer. That's fine. I'm allowed to have a gun. Oh, apparently not in New York, though. This is my compromise. You want no cash bail to all these Democrats and progressives? Let these criminals out? They're presumed innocent, I should say. Let these individuals out. I agree with that. The government should be able to lock people up, and I can have a gun. And then when this guy who's a murderer is released and maybe going around and doing something, I can protect myself. It's my responsibility, not the state's. Here we are. This is the future coming to you. I'm not opposed to the police. I'm not a staunch anarchist wanting to abolish all the police for the sake of, police being bad. But I do believe that these departments are corrupt, and there's a lot of problems with them. The guys who run these departments are appointed by Democrats. These are people who don't care. They want stability. They don't care about justice. Not that I think the activists are correct either, but for the most part, I think police departments are good. I really do. I think it's good that in the event there's some kind of dispute, you can call what is supposed to be a neutral arbiter to just be like, stop, we're enforcing the law. I actually think it's a good thing. However, it needs to still be that the majority of the responsibility falls on you as an individual. New York's finest continues to bolt from the job at an alarming rate, according to new data obtained by the Post. A total of 2,516 NYPD cops have left so far this year, the fourth highest number in the past decade, and 43% more than the 1,750 who hightailed it in 2018, before the pandemic and crime spikes hit the city. NYPD pension data show. The number of cops quitting before they reach the 20 years required to receive their full pensions also skyrocketed from 509 in 2020 to 1,040. Wow! That's crazy. Quitting before they hit their full pensions. I mean, that's crazy. The years of departures and lack of replacements are now taking a toll, forcing the cops who remain in the job to work inhumane amounts of forced overtime, the Police Benevolent Association President Patrick Henry said. And so they'll quit. There you go. What is this? You got these officers here. They got, what is this, little confetti? The number of cops quitting is massive. Wow. The workload is a leading factor driving people away from the job. If the NYPD is going to survive these staffing reductions, it cannot just keep squeezing cops for more hours. It is a cascade failure. One by one, the job becomes more and more burdensome, and people begin quitting. There's no money. They fire. They cut budgets. They make you work more. The pay is less. And then you're gone. And then y'all are going to have a good time living in New York. I can't believe there are still people who live there. I mean, I think Ryan Long still lives there. He's going to be on the show later this week. It'll be fun. I'll talk to him about it. Here we go. Check this out. Incredibly, 21 cops walked away from the job earlier this year in just a 2-day period to join the MTA, police sources said. Even former NYPD Commissioner Kachant Sewell stepped down in June amid a steady stream of New York's finest beating her to the punch. Good. This is the system that the people of New York want. Let them see exactly what it's going to be like. Here you go. Here's Chicago. 30 shot in Chicago over Thanksgiving weekend. Numerous victims ended up in critical condition with one pronounced dead. Yeah, Chicago. A good example of what New York can be. And Chicago's got cops, but they're starting to deal with the same problems. What do you think it's going to be like in this place when you start pulling cops out? I'd like to say, of all the places I've been, I hear rumors about some jurisdictions with really corrupt police departments, in California, for instance. Chicago is one of the most corrupt cities I have ever experienced. It's nuts how corrupt Chicago is. Chicago cops, what is it? They had that. Who is that guy? He was electrocuting people to force confessions. Chicago was caught operating black sites, they call them. Unmarked buildings where they would kidnap people and torture them. They'll take innocent people, lock them up without notifying anybody, without proper due process. That's crazy. Chicago's dirty. It's as dirty as it can be. It was run by the mob. It's run by the mob, and it's sad, really. They just realized, the mafia, they were like, why are we running this parallel government? Let's just be the government. So that's the play, baby. You get in politics and you be the government. Ain't nobody going to oppose you. Chicago's a corrupt place, though. So if someone were to come to me and say that they were going to abolish the CPD, I'd laugh. I'd be like, fine. Give me the right to keep and bear arms. Oh, wait, I have it. And if there's no police, there's no infringement on that right. Chicago's got problems, don't get me wrong. And they need police, for sure. But I will tell you this. I ain't giving no sympathy to Chicago cops. Sorry, man. I have seen way too much abject corruption in Chicago. Sorry. I know there are a lot of good Chicago cops. It's a fact. And I've dealt with them. I just think you got a very, very, very dirty system. And it's going to be hard for even the good cops to try and find a way to navigate this. But without police, I couldn't imagine how bad it could really be. So Chicago, for me, is pretty tough. It's pretty tough. Take a look at this story. But we'll get into the corruption. I'll come back to it. Shocking moment. Woman is robbed by rifle-wielding gang on busy Chicago street before suspects stick up 3 other people and cops refuse to follow them. You see? So if someone comes to me and says they want to abolish CPD, I'll be like, oh, don't make me. I'm not going to cry about it. Right now, the city of Chicago is building migrant camps with your money. And at the same time, the police ain't doing nothing about any of this stuff. So what is the purpose of the police in Chicago? To jam up people who don't want to wear masks during a lockdown or something like this? This happened in Wicker Park. And it was a young woman. I don't know if we have this young woman is being robbed. And let's see. They have a photo of the woman. Yeah, so here's the woman. Let's pull this up. And she looks like a young woman wearing, like a college sweater or something. I know the area, North. I don't know exactly what where exactly this intersection is, but it's on North in Wicker Park, North Avenue. And it's a relatively nice gentrified area, and that's why they target it. This is what you get living in these cities. I don't know why you'd want to live there. That's up to you. The cops are corrupt. We know they're corrupt. They lie, they cheat, they steal. The NYPD does a lot of this too. They're appointed by Democrats who just want their power maintained. NYPD moonlight as private security for the ultra wealthy. That's what they do. And then you, the working class person, get held up at rifle point in a city where you can't defend yourself. Have fun. Who would want to live in a place like this, dude? And I feel like it's intentional, to be honest, that they want people to leave. They want them to bail out of the cities and just go somewhere else. Because really, it's inverse pressure. It's a negative pressure system. Criminals will hold you up at gunpoint. You can't defend yourself. Cops won't help you. The only thing a person can do is leave. But it's not about you. It's about attrition. It's about the pressure. If the pressure they create, if the pressure results in a 51% exodus, they're making the city smaller. And maybe that's what they want to happen. Only the most resilient people can tolerate this stuff. So the average person leaves. The population declines. I think that's intentional. I'd say that it makes the most sense, except for the fact that they're bringing in non-citizens. Well, that may have the same effect. They bring in non-citizens. They build camps for them. The regular working class people are beaten mercilessly, and so they leave. And what's left? These non-citizens live under the boot of the government. They're second-class citizens. They don't have IDs. They can't vote. They have to work in secret, and you get a serf class. That's what I think the Democrats are working on building. This is the future for your cities, unless we start to turn these things around. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.